President Obama making comments about the Umpqua Community College shooting in Oregon. Breaking news, my panel is back with me right now. One thing he did talk about, guys, is this whole thing becoming routine. I don't think any of us are numb to it, but it does feel like it makes the headlines. It stays in the headlines for a while. After the funerals are over, a couple of stories in some magazines, it does seem to fade away. How do we get around seizing on the moment and maybe really ultimately getting something done?
I believe there was 143 shootings since Columbine. I mean,
mass shootings similar to this.
Multiple shootings. Yeah, there's 143 of them since that occurrence in schools, colleges, higher education, or whatever. My point is that it is something where someone can make a statement by taking as many bodies out as they can. And now they see it on the news. Now this person becomes famous for killing if they're down there, if they're mentally challenged, or whatever their problem is, or if it's a religious terrorist attack that happened here. We don't know yet. We'll find out. But my point is, they always go to where the vulnerable are. Notice they don't go into a police station that often. They do go into a police station, but then they get met with shots right back at them. But they go to a place where they can have mass kill, movie theater, mass kill, where people can't shoot back. So this is one common denominator. We have to have more security, and security means if you're going to go against a gun, you better have a gun.
David Katz, I want to go to you because as the president made his pitch, and that's essentially what half of his press conference was. It was a pitch. It was a political pitch. When he started talking about enlisting or moving governors and state legislators, I'm thinking, why do you need that? I mean, those are the kind of things you need to sort of change the Constitution.
Yeah, Convention of the States is what he's probably alluding to.
I mean, essentially, if I'm reading between the lines properly, the president may, in his last year in office, go for it, try to either severely change the Second Amendment or remove it.
It's not going to happen. We're probably, I think the vast 30-plus states have conservative majorities, Republican majorities in state legislatures. That's not going to happen. But I know he wouldn't be so happy if the same methodology was used to, let's say, limit the reckless spending that he favors. So that's not going to happen. I think it was an illusion. I don't know if he meant it or someone wrote it for him, but that's a non-starter.
You know, Tammy, you've brought up the mental health issue. This is brought up all the time. To me, again, if we're talking about some sort of bipartisan solution, this would be the lowest hanging fruit, and yet we've made no movement here.
Because everybody gets all distracted by the gun talk. But also, when he asked that we look at the comparison of terrorist deaths versus gun deaths. But this isn't a comparing of numbers. It must be a comparing of intent, the agenda, why something is happening. And you can look at liberal cities with all of their gun control laws as adding to those gun deaths because of the nature of what that causes. Whether it is Chicago, James Holmes, who skipped over several theaters that allowed open carry, finds the one finally his fourth or fifth choice that was a gun-free zone. So this is not about how dare he suggest we compare numbers and say that Americans are effectively worse than the terrorists when we know what has caused this problem, when we know the real issues are being ignored because it doesn't suit his agenda.
These liberal cities are killing fields.
Yes, exactly.
Without a doubt, and they do have the strongest gun laws out there, and it belies everything the president talks about when he makes these kind of pitches, just as these bodies, many of them not even identified yet. So I think he's going to get a lot of pushback on that. Again, we've got multiple casualties after another school shooting. President Obama saying it's become routine.